This next rook and pawn endgame is one of my favorite endgames, and it's one of the first that I had happen in one of my games when I was roughly 1600, and I really struggled to win this. I did win the game, but it was because my opponent did not play best defense, not because I understood a forcing winning method, not allowing my opponent chances. And you go, surely this can't be too bad. I mean, you've got two connected pawns. I could just work their way up the board. Sure. This is just easy, right? All right, let's see it. So first of all, rook b2. Black passes because he's on a good square. He's cutting off the king from doing much. So we push. Now that we have our pawns controlling key squares, we push them back. Here's already showing how you can mess up such an easily winning position. h4 throws this win away because king g4, you cannot make progress. I'm just going to go back and forth. Because if your rook ever leaves, check. I'm threatening mate and the pawn. GG. Very important. Rook b5. Notice how we use the pawns and we're forcing the king back. Only now h4. And we're going to repeat this type of process. Now you check me. Well, you're looking to check me back here. So, check. Flexibility. King h4. And notice, if he checks on h1, I can move my king to g4. If he checks on a4, I can move the pawn to block, making progress. That's the key idea. Check. Flexibility. Block. Push the pawn, giving us key squares. And we're going to repeat this process until we get here. This is another critical position. Think for a while here and come up with a plan. Well, if you go, I want to play h7. This is bad. Would you like a free rook? Sure. Free half point for black too. Do not give opportunities for your opponent to stalemate. Very, very important. So I got this position and either I had seen it in Silman's book or I had remembered it from some other source. But my thought process was, if I trade rooks, I know this is 100% a win. And the first move was rook d7. And we'll come back and show a different method as well. After rook b8, g6, and you go, well, why rook d7? You'll see momentarily. I'm able to dance my king up. Block. Notice with the pawns here, we're cutting off key squares, but leaving his king the ability to go back and forth. We're threatening mate. That forces the rook to a passive position. He can't do anything. If he checks us, we block with the rook. If he moves his king, we force the trade of rooks off the board, all the while keeping his king where it can move, no stalemate tricks, no problems, and I won the game cleanly here with checkmate. So coming back the other way is the immediate pawn push, and with the rook further away, we come here, and I feel that there's more risk with this, but hey, to each their own. Rook f8, for instance. See how much more work is required. h7. Finally, best he's got is rook g8. And you get the win. But there were a lot of opportunities to go wrong with the g6 line. g6 is probably first choice of the engine. I didn't check. I just wanted to show there are ways to go wrong in these endings, and I try to play in a way where I don't really have a chance to mess it up. So I'm showing you my thought process with playing this type of position. Hopefully you got a little something out of it with this rook and pawn endgame, inspired from Silman's Complete Endgame Course, an excellent book that I recommend for chess players.